In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. The prophecies of the first hour of Thursday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may its blessings be with us all, Amen. From Ezekiel the prophet, may his blessings be with us all, Amen. The Spirit lifted me up and brought me into the inner court, and behold, the glory of the Lord filled the temple. Then I heard him speaking to me from the temple, while a man stood beside me, and he said to me, Son of man, this is the place of my throne, and the place of the soles of my feet, where I will dwell in the midst of the children of Israel forever. No more shall the house of Israel defile my holy name, they nor their kings by their harlotry, or with the carcasses of their kings on their high places. When they sat their threshold by my threshold, and their doorpost by my doorpost, with a wall between them and me, they defiled my holy name by the abominations which they committed. Therefore I have consumed them in my anger. Now let them put their harlotry and the carcasses of their kings far away from me, and I will dwell in their midst forever. Son of man, describe the temple of the house of Israel, that they may be ashamed of their iniquities, and let them measure the pattern, and if they are ashamed of all that they have done, make known to them the design of the temple and its arrangement, its exits and its entrances, its entire design, and all its ordinances, all its forms and all its laws. Write it down in their sight, so that they may keep it in the whole design and all its ordinances, and perform them. Glory be to the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Glory be. The soldier of the first hour of the Thursday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may its blessings be with us all, Amen. Our Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Kyrie eleison, prophecies, nembiorem, desmonem, priamai, shainem, infernuit, penoti, penot, propheticon, nembiorem, desmonem, priamai, shainem, infernois, Iisus, Christus, pasotir abatus, propheticon, nembiorem, desmonem, priamai, shainem,
Toktetigom nebionem bezmonem biamai shaine amin Emmanuel benot ben orot Toktetigom nebionem bezmonem biamai shaine shoisisos bechristos besotiren agathos Toktetigom nebionem bezmonem biamai shaine amin Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen.
Salmos todam avint matom Anmo Shecho MCC ابقى شاينتنك من شنه
Kie peto kataxeio thini mastis acroasios to agio evangelio Kyrion keton thein mon eketepsomen sofia orse acosomen to agio.
O anagnosisebo, en evangelione ثواب كاتا يؤنن agio doxasike
the Psalms of our teacher David, the prophet and king. May his blessings be with us all. Amen. Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck. O God, in the multitude of your mercy, hear me in your truth of your salvation. O Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to St. John, the evangelist and pure disciple. May his blessings be with us all. Amen. Therefore my Father loves me, because I lay down my life, that I may take it again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This command I have received from my Father. Therefore there was a division again among the Jews because of these sayings. And many of them said, he has a demon and is mad. Why do you listen to him? And others said, these are not of the words of one who has a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind?
Glory to you. The prophecies of the third hour of the eve of the Thursday of the Holy Pascha, His blessings be with us all. Ameen. From Amos the prophet.
Come to Bethel and transgress. At Gilgal, multiply transgressions. Bring your offerings every morning. Your tithes every 3 days. Offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving with leaven. Proclaim and announce the free will offerings. For this you love, you children of Israel. Says the Lord God. Also I give you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and lack of bread in your places. Yet you have not returned to me, says the Lord. I also withheld rain from you, where there were still 3 months to the harvest. I made it rain on one city and withheld rain from the another. One part was rained upon, and where it did not rain, the part was withered. So 2 or 3 cities wandered to another city to drink water, but they were not satisfied. Yet you have not returned to me, says the Lord. I blasted you with the blight and mildew. Then your gardens increase, your vineyards and your fig trees and your olive trees. The locusts devoured them, yet you have not returned to me, says the Lord. I send among you a plague after the manner of Egypt. Your young men I killed with the sword, along with your captive horses. I made the strength of your claims come up to my nostrils. Yet you have not returned to me, says the Lord. I overthrew some of you, as God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And you were like a firebrand plucked from its burning. Yet you have not returned to me, says the Lord. Therefore thus I will do to you, O Israel, because you will do this to you. Prepare to meet your God, O Israel, for behold, he who forms mountains and creates the wind, who declares man what he thought is, and makes the morning darkness, who treads the high place of the earth. The Lord God of hosts is his name. Glory be to the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Doxology of the third hour of the eve of the Thursday of the Holy Pascha. His blessings be with us all. Ameen. Hear us, O Lord, pray thankfully, our Father, who art in heaven. Will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. Eleison thok tetigom nebio, nembizmo nebia maisha, ine amin Emmanuel ben noti ben oro. pray together, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever. Amen. Just before we begin this psalm, you're familiar with the fact that this morning on Wednesday the church remembers the betrayal that Judas has done, and that he went and made the agreement with the Sanhedrin to hand them over to Christ. So tonight in the third hour we remember this betrayal by singing this particular psalm. It has a beautiful tune, and it speaks about the hypocrisy of the softness of the voice that Judas had, betraying his master with a kiss, while his insides are corrupt with darkness and sinfulness. We read this psalm and we look on that and pray that our hearts are genuine towards our relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. So if you know it, please say with them, of course.
Salmos
che per tocataxeo tinimes, ti sacro eseos tagio evangelio, Kyrion que ton theonemon, e catev somen sofia orthia somen, togio
Ananosi sebol en evangelione thoeb kata Markon ageium.
From the Psalms of our teacher David, the prophet and king, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and do not hide yourself from my supplication. O Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Mark. The evangelist, apostle, and pure disciple, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. And being in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at the table, a woman came having an alabaster flask of very costly oil of spikenard. Then she broke the flask and poured it on his head. But there were some who were indignant among themselves and said, "Why was this fragrant oil wasted? For it might have been sold for more than 300 denarii and given to the poor." And they criticized her sharply. But Jesus said, "Let her alone, why do you trouble her? She has done a good work for me. For you have the poor with you always, and whenever you wish you may do them good, but me you do not have always. She has done what she could. She has come beforehand to anoint my body for burial. Assuredly I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her." Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray him to them. And when they heard it, they were glad, and promised to give him money. So he sought how he might conveniently betray him.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. The prophecies of the 6th hour of the eve of the prophecies of the 6th hour of the eve of Covenant Thursday of the Holy Pascha of our good Savior. May its holy blessings be with us all, amen. From the book of Amos, the prophet, may his holy blessings be with us all, amen.
Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, "You only have I known of all the families of earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. Can two walk together unless they have agreed? Will a lion roar in a forest when he has no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he has caught nothing? Will a bird fall into a snare on the earth when there is no trap for it? Will a snare spring up from the earth if he has caught nothing at all? If a trumpet is blown in the city, will not the people be afraid? If there is calamity in a city, Will not the Lord have done it? Surely the Lord God does nothing unless he reveals his secret to his servants the prophets. A lion has roared, who will not fear? The Lord God has spoken, who can but prophesy? Proclaim in the palaces at Ashdod, and in the palaces in the land of Egypt, and say, assemble on the mountains of Samaria. See great tumult in her midst, and the oppressed within her. For they do not know to do right, says the Lord, who store up violence and robbery in their palaces. Therefore thus says the Lord God, an adversary shall be all around the land. He shall sap your strength from you, and your palaces shall be plundered. Glory be to the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Alleluia, Alleluia. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the one God, Amen. Glory be to the Father, to the Son, to the Holy Spirit, now and forevermore, Amen. The prayer and the praise of the 6th hour of the eve of the great Thursday of the Holy Pascha of our good Savior. May its holy blessings be with us all, Amen. O Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us, and make us worthy to pray thankfully, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil, Lord. Thine is the kingdom, power, glory. Kyrie eleison, Thok teti gomnem bionem, vesmonem biamai shainem, inem menuit penoti pecoro, Thok teti gomnem bionem, vesmonem biamai shainem, ibeshois Iisus Christus, besotir avatos, Thok teti gomnem bionem, vesmonem biamai shainem,
Salmos toda avid of all men.
Praise of me. From violent and her plan. Things. In their hearts. They continually gather Oh
tu kataxeos imes ti sacro asios tagio evangelio. Kyrion και τον Θεόν ημών, οικοτεύσαμ σωμεν σοφία ορθιακό σωμεν, το Άγιο
O anagnosis vol en evangeliones o apkata Ioannen agios. Nai etagvoto ence isos afshinav avkop evol haro nai mizemini aftayo empa emtho evol empa poti erov o oshtem evangelion ethoem.
From the Psalms of our teacher David, the prophet and king, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. Deliver me, O Lord, from evil men. Preserve me from violent men who plan evil things in their hearts. They continually gather together for war. O Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to St. John, the evangelist and pure disciple. May his blessings be with us all. Amen. Then these things Jesus spoke and departed, and was hidden from them. But although he had done so many signs before them, they did not believe in him, that the word of Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, which he spoke, Lord, who has believed our report, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed. Therefore they could not believe, because Isaiah said again, he has blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, lest they should see with their eyes, lest they should understand with their hearts, and turn, so that I should heal them. These things Isaiah said when he saw his glory, and spoke of him. Nevertheless, even among the rulers, many believed in him, but because of the Pharisees, they did not confess sin, lest they should be put out of the synagogue, for they love the praise of men more than the praise of God.
In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. The prophecies of the ninth hour of Thursday Eve of the Holy Pascha. May its blessing be with us all. Amen.
From Ezekiel the prophet, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. Therefore, Son of Man, speak to the house of Israel, and say to them, Thus says the Lord God, in this too your fathers have blasphemed me, by being unfaithful to me. When I brought them into the land concerning which I had raised my hand in an oath to give them, and they saw all the high hills and all the thick trees, there they offered their sacrifices and provoked me with their offerings. There they also sent up their sweet aroma and poured out their drink offerings. Then I said to them, What is this high place to which you go? So its name is called Bama to this day. Therefore say to the house of Israel, Thus says the Lord God, Are you defiling yourselves in the manner of your fathers, and committing harlotry according to their abominations? For when you offer your gifts and make your sons pass through the fire, you defile yourselves with all your idols, even to this day. So shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel? As I live, says the Lord God, I will not be inquired of by you. What you have in your mind shall never be, when you say, We will be like the Gentiles, like the families in other countries, serving wood and stone. As I live, says the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand, with an outstretched arm, and with the fury poured out, I will rule over you. Glory be to the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen. Praise and the prayer of the ninth hour. This Christmas may bless with us. Amen. Hallelujah. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. Glory to the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of age. Amen. The doxology of the ninth hour of Thursday of the Holy Pascha. May its blessing be with us all. Amen. O Lord, make us worthy to pray. Thank you, our Father, who art in heaven. Kyrie eleison, hoc tetibon, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we
Forgive
forgive
those who trespass against us, and lead us not to temptation.
but
Deliver
deliver
us
us from evil through Jesus Christ our Lord, who died in the kingdom, the power, the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Psalm of David. In you I put I trust. Save me. All those who
persecute.
Bertokadexio Thinimesti Sacra Sotagio Evangelion Kyrion Kiton Theonemon Ekatev Somen Sophia Arthiakos Omen Toagio
Oh no si se vol en evangelionet oeb kata Ioannen ageo doxasi
From the Psalms of our teacher David the prophet and king, may his blessings be with us all, amen. O Lord my God, in you I put my trust. Save me from all those who persecute me, and deliver me, lest they tear me like a lion.
Alleluia.
O Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to St. John, the evangelist, apostle, and pure disciple. May his blessings
Be with us.
My Father, who has given them to me, is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them away from my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. Jesus answered them, many good works I have shown you from my Father. For which of those works do you stone me? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we do not stone you, but for blasphemy, and because you, being a man, make use of God. Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law, I said, you are gods? If he called them gods, to whom the word of God came, and the scriptures cannot be broken, do you say of him whom the Father sanctified and sent into the world, you are blaspheming because as I said, I am the Son of God. If I do not do the works of my Father, do not believe me. But if I do, though you do not believe, if the works, that you may know and believe that the Father is in me and I in him.
Glory to you. The prophecies of the 11th hour of the eve of the Thursday of the Holy Pascha. His blessings be with us all. Ameen. From the book of Jeremiah the prophet.
From Jeremiah the prophet, may his blessings be with us all, amen. Thus says the Lord, will they fall and not rise? Will one turn away and not return? Why has his people slidden back, Jerusalem in a perpetual backsliding? They hold fast to deceit, they refuse to return. I listened and heard, but they do not speak aright. No man repented of his wickedness, saying, what have I done? Everyone turned to his own course, as the horse rushes into the battle. Even the stork in the heavens knows her appointed times, and the turtle dove, the swift, and the swallow observe the time of their coming. But my people do not know the judgment of the Lord. How can you say we are wise, and the law of the Lord is with us? Look, the false pen of the scribe certainly works falsehood. The wise men are ashamed. They are dismayed and taken. Behold, they have rejected the word of the Lord. So what wisdom do they have? Glory be to the Holy Trinity, Father. and
Doxology of the 11th hour of the Thursday Holy Pascha is blessing with us, Amen. We pray together, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation. Deliver us from evil, through Jesus Christ our Lord. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. Kyrie eleison, thok tetigom, nebiro, nebismon, nebiam, Pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Thine is the kingdom, power, and glory. Amen.
Some of David in God and my glory. The rock of my strength and my is in God. Only is my rock and my salvation. is my ends. I shall not be greatly moved.
Και ερπέτω καταξίου θύμες της ακροασιός το Άγιο Ευαγγελιό, Κύριον και των Θεών ημών, εκατεύσομεν σοφία ο Θεακόσομεν το Άγιο.
Ο ανάγνωσες ευών, εν μπι Ευαγγελιον εθώαπ, κατά Ιωάννεν Αγγέιο.
From the sons of our teacher David, the prophet and king, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength. And my refuge is in God, He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. O Lord, have pity and mercy on us and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to St. John, the evangelist and pure disciple. May his blessings Then Jesus cried out and said, He who believes in me, believes not in me, but in him who sent me. And he who sees me, sees he who sent me. I have come as a light into the world, that whoever believes in me should not abide in darkness. And if anyone hears my words and does not believe, I do not judge him,
For I do not come to judge the world, but to save the world. He who rejects me does not receive my words, as that which judges him. The word that I have spoken will judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken on my own authority, but the Father who sent me gave me a command that I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his command is everlasting life. Therefore, whatever I speak, just as the Father has told me, so I speak.
First hour of the eve of the Thursday of the Holy Pascha, blessing with us, Amen.
Our Lord and Master Jesus Christ is showing his divine power that he is the mighty God over all the thrones and authorities. He said, "The Father loves me because I laid down my life that I might take it again, and no man takes it from me." There has been a division among the Jews about what he had said. Some said that he is mad and possessed by demons. Others said that these cannot be the words of a man possessed by demons. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind? Truly he enlightens the heart of believers. But those blind Jews who looked and did not see, and listened and did not hear, did not love him nor believed in him. Therefore they were not forgiven.
Came and suffered for us, he may save us through his suffering.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
The third hour commentary of Thursday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may its blessings be with us all, Amen. The woman anointed Jesus' feet with the precious fragrance and wiped them with her hair, because she loved him greatly. She had done a good deed that will be told and remembered throughout the whole world. Indeed, she is still remembered from all believers. Oh, for all these spiritual gifts and great honors that she had won. Let us imitate her and love the Lord from all our hearts, and not be like Judas who mocked her for what she had done. His evil thoughts led him to betray his master. The silver he took for the precious blood will go with him to damnation, and his name will be erased from the book of life, and he will have no offspring.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered for us, that he may save us through his suffering.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
The commentary of the sixth hour.
The 6-hour commentary of Thursday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. Isaiah the prophet rebuked the rejected Israelites for their sins and wickedness. When Jesus appeared and performed amazing miracles, they still deviated from his words full of grace and denied his divinity. A great prophet condemned them, for they have followed the steps of their fathers and completed their evil deeds to fulfill the prophecy, saying, Lord, who could believe what we have heard, and to whom has the power of the Lord revealed? Jesus Christ is the Word of God, that appeared in flesh of his justice and mercy for the Israelites. Yet they did not obey nor believe him. They fulfilled Isaiah's prophecy, saying, He has blinded their eyes, he has hardened their hearts, for fear they should see with their eyes and understand with their hearts, and turn to him for healing. Listen, O Israel, there is no Savior but Jesus Christ, the Savior of the whole world, who made the two into one. The light came unto his own people, and they loved darkness. But the Gentiles accepted him and obeyed his commandments, and became his people everywhere. They realized his mercy and abundant grace, which he had given them according to his goodness.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered for us, that he may save us through his suffering.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
The commentary of the ninth hour.
Our Savior, the Son of the living God, said, I am the light of the world. He who believes in me and accepts my word shall not stay in the darkness. He who denies or disobeds me, I shall not be.
Are you ignorant, arrogant, defiled, and disobedient Jews, listen to our merciful God, praising the believers, saying, The Father who gave me is greater than anyone, and no one can steal from the Father. The Father and I are one without separation. At the time, the Jews, out of envy, fetched some stones and stoned him. Jesus answered meekly, I have done so many good works from my Father for you to see. For what reason do you want to stone me? I want your salvation. Be sure that I am in the Father and the Father is in me.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered for us, that he may save us through his suffering.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
The commentary of the ninth hour. The 11th hour.
Our Savior, the Son of the living God, said, I am the light of the world. He who believes in me and accepts my word shall not stay in the darkness. He who denies and obeys me, I shall not condemn him. But the word said that I will condemn him. What I have said is not for me, but from the Father who has sent me, and he gave me the commandment what to say. We believe that you are the true word of God. To you is the power, and nothing is impossible with you.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered for us, that he may save us through his suffering.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Glory and honor and glory be given to the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and forevermore, amen. First and foremost, we all give every thanks and praise to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who has enabled us to celebrate another Pascha week. This is an enormous amount of blessing that the Lord has bestowed upon us from year to year, that we are able to walk with Him step by step through to His crucifixion, His burial, and His triumphant and glorious resurrection. Secondly, all of us here tonight and in the coming 3 days left of the Holy Pascha, we lift up our hearts in prayer and we kneel down for our dear brothers and sisters whom we do not know and who we've never met before, the people of Sri Lanka who have lost now almost over 300 people. We pray for the repose of their souls in paradise and for the hundreds who are still injured. I think we, more so than any other Christian church in the world, know the atrocities and the tragedies which are felt by these very simple, ordinary Christian women and men who went out on Sunday morning to celebrate the Feast of Feasts, the glorious resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We pray for them, that the Lord strengthens their faith and gives them enormous amount of hope, that the Lord wipes away sadness and sorrow from their lives and from their families. Thirdly, this great and glorious week, Passion Week, without doubt that this week is a week in which we all experience the depth and the breadth and the richness of God's love for each and every one of us. We come to know and understand bit by bit the words of our Lord Jesus Christ when He said to Nicodemus in the Gospel of St. John, the verse that you all know, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have eternal life." And to love because is very normal and very natural. To love in spite of, that's divine. And that's what we experience this week. In the book of Romans, chapter 8, St. Paul says this, "He who did not spare His Son, but delivered Him up for us." This is what God did. He did not spare His Son, but He delivered Him up for us. If you have a look at that passage in Romans 8, you know a number of good verses there. After St. Paul mentioned that, a few verses down, he says, what's our response to this incredible, indescribable work of love, genuine love that the Lord has done for us? What's our response? You know, when you read the epistles of St. Paul, you'll always find something called orthodoxy, which is the right way to glorify God for what He has done. He who did not spare His Son, but delivered Him up for us. The response is orthopraxy, which is to walk according to the proper path. So what's our response? Have a look. You can cheat. It's not a problem. After that, Paul then says, "Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall famine or sword or peril? For your sake we are slaughtered all day long. We are counted as sheep to the slaughter. We are more than conquerors through Him who loved us." It's the first point. Second point is that this week is a week of genuine, sincere repentance and renewal. All of us, young and old, servants and students, clergy and laity, all of us, we offer genuine, sincere repentance to the Lord and ask for His forgiveness for all our sins and weaknesses, for all the many sins that we have done and continue to. We come and kneel before the Lord and we say to Him, "Lord, accept our repentance, accept my confession, just as you accepted the repentance and confession of St. Augustine and transformed him. Just as you accepted the repentance and confession of a young lady called Baisa when she repented at the hands of John the dwarf. Just as you accepted the repentance of the prodigal son. And I come to you, Lord, and I say, I've sinned against you, and against heaven I'm no longer fit to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired. workers. This week also is a week of huge transformation. Huge transformation. This week changed the whole world, and it will definitely change you and me. When our Lord Jesus Christ entered into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, he went out to offer himself as a living sacrifice and to transform the church of the Old Testament to the church of the New Testament. And I'll give you two quick examples of many. The leadership this week is going to change. Leadership is going to change. Caiaphas, Ananias, and the rest of the Sanhedrin will be terminated. And the 12 disciples with the 70 apostles, they will become the new priests according to the order of Melchizedek, not the Levite. This week as well, culminating on Friday, all the old sacrifices of the Old Testament will come to a close as we look up to the cross of our Lord Jesus. And his sacrifice is above all other sacrifices. Those of you who are familiar with the Sunday Theotokos, what do we say? Through St. Mary, the daughter of Joachim, we have come to know the true sacrifice for the forgiveness of our sins. Therefore, we ask the Lord to bestow upon each and every one of us abundant grace throughout this week, and that he accepts from us our prayers and our fasts, and that he accepts from us our worship, and it will leave a huge mark on our lives. Now, come to Wednesday of the Pascha week. Today, presented before us in the Gospels are two sharp, contrasting features. We have before us two personalities, and they are both before the Lord Jesus Christ as well. One is Judas, who conspires to surrender and betray his Lord and Master and Teacher. And the other image we have is of an unknown lady in the house of Simon the leper. With Judas, we have, unfortunately, the smell of stench of betrayal. With this unknown lady, we have the aroma of an incredible, beautiful smell. With Judas, we discover how, I'm sorry to use this word, how very cheap Christ is in the eyes of some. With this lady, whom we do not know, we discover how priceless and precious is our Lord and our Savior, Jesus Christ. And don't be surprised that we have these two completely contrasting personalities before the Lord. You know why? If you have a look at Matthew chapter 13, known as the chapter about the parables, begins with, the kingdom of heaven is like unto, and the kingdom of heaven is like unto. Okay? What the parable after the sower and the seed is known as the parable of the wheat and the tares. It's in that parable, the angels, they come and say to the master, who is the Lord, shall we chop off the tares completely? He says, no, leave it till harvest time. Let them both grow together, the evil and the good. Throughout this life, they both grow together. But each one's deeds, each one's actions will be revealed at the time of harvest. And that's very important. There shall come a time of harvest for everyone. Before I proceed further, and tonight I want to focus on this wonderful, incredible lady, but she's unknown. Her name is not known at all. There are three ladies that we have come to know in the four Gospels that have poured expensive fragrance oil on our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. You ready? The first is Luke chapter 7. This is, again, a lady whose name we do not know, in the house of Simon the Pharisee, and she comes from behind. She was not welcomed or wanted or invited in the house of Simon the Pharisee. She comes from behind, and she pours very expensive oil on the feet of our Lord Jesus Christ. And she is attacked by Simon the Pharisee, by his famous words, if this man was a prophet, he would know what kind of a sinner this person is who is touching him. But the Lord says this about her and each and every one of you. He who is forgiven much loves much, and he who is forgiven little, the same loves little. And he says to her, go in peace, your faith has saved you. And the church loves this gospel, and loves this story, and places it every night in the second service of the midnight prayer. And we all respond saying, Lord, give me fountains of many tears, as he did in the past of the sinful woman. Make me shed my tears on your feet, which took me to the right path. That's one person. The second is Mary, the sister of Martha and the sister of Lazarus. And she took very expensive oil, and she also poured it on the feet of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. The gospel that we read last Saturday night on Palm Sunday Eve. All right? She offered this when they had a large banquet in honor of Christ and Lazarus, who had been raised, having been dead for 4 days. And the third is today's lady, who this time doesn't pour it on the feet, but she pours it on the head of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Now I'll just draw your attention to a few things. All three ladies were sharply criticized for what they did. And all three ladies did not say one word, but they offered this spikenard oil to their Lord and their Savior Christ. And therefore, do not be surprised. Do not be surprised that some of your good deeds may be criticized. Let it be registered in heaven and not registered before people. And I want you to know this very important principle. Never, ever, ever, ever be reluctant or be upset for having offered the best you possibly have for someone. Don't look back and say, I wish I never helped her. I wish I never helped him. You know what? She walks past me now as if she doesn't know me, and I helped her out for many years. Okay? Doesn't matter. It's registered in heaven. It doesn't have to be registered amongst people. This lady today, who offered her spikenard, expensive nardine oil on the head of our Lord Jesus Christ. She did it for what? For the burial of our Lord. On Friday, there will be no time. And when our Lord and Savior comes down from the cross, carried by Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea, and they hear the beautiful angelic praise, which we have come to treasure in the church, Holy God, Holy Almighty, Holy Immortal, the Trisagion. They hear the heavenly host chanting that, and they bury the Lord Christ in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. And there isn't sufficient time, and so the women come the next early on Sunday morning to pour spices on the Lord's body. She does it today, 2 days out before his burial. And the Lord defends her and exalts her, and he says this: wherever this gospel is preached, what this woman has done will be held as a memorial to her. It will never ever be forgotten. And year after year it is read, and in the Gospels it is read, Matthew 26 and Mark 14. Can I also add as well, this is the Gospel, Matthew 26, which is read at the funeral service of ladies, elderly ladies, who were mothers, who were grandmothers or great-grandmothers, to show that throughout their life, in what they have offered and sacrificed for their families, for their children, for their husband, for their relatives, was a beautiful oil poured on the body of our Lord Jesus Christ. The message for us tonight is, are you and I faithful servants to pour and pour and pour as much fragrant oil on the body of Christ? The body of Christ is who? The body of Christ is the church. Okay? upon your brothers and sisters, where you and I show love, but not in words. As St. John says, beloved, we do not love by words, by deed and by truth. Let me share with you the following story, which shows you how people, Christian people, can pour fragrant oil on the body of Christ. About 5 years ago, the following real story occurred here in Sydney. A family went to the beach. 2 boys were playing and their parents were next to them. And as they were digging with the sand, as they dig, they discovered that there is a body there. So they called to their parents, and their parents immediately rang the police. The whole beach was shut down. This beach was Maroubra Beach in the eastern suburbs. The whole beach was closed down. Everyone go out. They cordoned it off, and they discovered it's the body of a little girl. They were not certain whether she was buried alive or she was killed and buried, and whether she comes from the area or from another area. And they kept on searching high and low who is responsible, and they asked a lot of mothers to come forward or persons who may know to come forward. No one came forward, and up till today they have not known who did it. This is about 5 years ago. However, this is the significance of this story. Husband and wife came forward to the police, and they went to the coroner and they said to them, "We would like to adopt this child." I said, "What? To adopt a child in Australia is very hard. To adopt a dead child, someone who's dead, that is extraordinary." I said, "Yes, we will give her a name, and we will take full responsibility and costs for a funeral and a burial for her." What extraordinary work is this? When the crime first came on, it was on the first couple of pages of the papers for about 1 or 2 days. Okay? But when this came, it only got a small column, 5-6 pages down in the paper. They gave her a name. I'll tell you what the name is because you can search it. Lily Grace. Lily, her first name, and Grace, a surname, not a middle name. And what happened afterwards is, over there in the Botany Bay cemeteries, they made a day to remember all those who have no one to remember them, who died as a result of different accidents or different tragedies. And this girl, who is unknown to anyone but known to God, the Lord who looks after his people took pity and mercy and compassion on her. But what about these people who pour and pour fragrant oil on the body of Christ to people whom they do not know? I'm sure Christ would say about these people, wherever the gospel is preached, what these people have done will always be a memorial to them. Our task, my dear brothers and sisters, is to pour as much fragrant oil on the body of Christ. Be very wise, for example, with your words. Okay? We have a major disease and a major cancer inside our Coptic community, and that is we gossip a lot. We talk too much about one another. We've made quite an art out of this. Your responsibility as deacons and as servants and as good responsible Christian women and men is to show the wisdom of Saint Arsenius, the tutor of the children of the king, and pour as much as you possibly can by way of fragrant oil on the body of Christ. And don't speak and try to transform these conversations to something else, not religious, something kind of general and vague. We've got to, and this is one of the important learning lessons that we have this week, to change our language around completely. We need to, very, very, very much. Another way of pouring fragrant oil on the body of Christ, please. Be like Saint Macarius the Great, who covered for the sins and the mistakes of one of his children, the monks. Cover the mistakes and the sins of others, and God will cover your sins and mistakes. Cover the errors and the weaknesses of people, and God will always cover your weaknesses. Expose them, and unfortunately God will expose you, because He said this, with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. Be very careful. Be very, very cautious. Okay? Be very, very wise. Pour as much as you can of oil and fragrant oil on the body of Christ by always being very positive in times where negativity breeds negativity and creates a spiral of uncomfortableness for people. We thank God for an inspiring, wonderful leader, lay leader like Habib Gerges. And in times in which the body of Christ was infected with so many problems and so many difficulties. And he began slowly and gradually Sunday school classes at a very small level, writing hymns, okay, gathering teachers and educating them, running conferences, publishing a magazine called The Vine, etc. Little positive steps. And as he continued to pour and pour and pour fragrant oil on the body of Christ, okay, it healed many of the wounds. And a beautiful blossoming tree emerged. And you and I have the blessings of receiving its fruits. We thank God. We thank God for people like that who inspire us. And finally, you know of a beautiful saint in the life of our church, St. Julius Al-Aqfasi, who the Lord appeared to him and instructed him to take care of the bodies of the martyrs and saints. And he poured and poured abundant, fragrant oil on the body of Christ as he preserved these saints, these martyrs, and wrote their biographies. And that's why for the martyrs, you'll only find a small paragraph or two, right? And returning them back to their villages or their towns to honor and venerate them. Keep on pouring as much as you possibly can of fragrant oil on the body of Christ, and never ever give up. Never give up, but always have your eyes on our Lord and Savior Christ, from whom you receive rewards and not from men. You heard in the gospel today, they love the praise of men more than the praise of God. And as for Judas, whom the gospel spoke about today, the words of the psalmist are very clear. My own familiar friend who ate bread with me has lifted up his heel against me. The next 2 days, tomorrow Covenant Thursday and then Good Friday, we see our Lord and Savior Christ offering himself as an incredible sacrifice for the whole world. Blessed is the person who partakes and genuinely values and appreciates his Lord and Savior as his personal Redeemer. I'll finish off with a small story which differentiates between Christ as our Savior and something other. At this time, this is a story of one of those little clips that little things that we read in different magazines. It's not a real story. Of a man who was caught up in a car accident, and his car veered, and he couldn't move his vehicle. All right, he couldn't drive further, and car after car passed by, and no one stopped for him except one person who stopped for him, called for an ambulance, and followed the ambulance and made sure that the person was settled inside his in the hospital, and that all the necessary treatment for him was given. Thereafter, they became good friends. They formed a very good friendships together. And as the injured person went around with the person who looked after him, he would often refer to him as, "This is my friend, my Savior. This is my friend, my Savior." So, and he was proud to say that, and he would recall the story in front of different people. However, after a couple of years, as often happens, people drift apart, and they're no longer, close friends. This young man who was involved in the car accident, he drifted very far from Christ and from the Word of God and from the church, and was entangled in drugs, okay, to the extent that he was caught by police, and his case was brought before the court. And as he sat there in the court, okay, he sat next to his lawyer, and he can see the judge up the top there. As soon as he saw the judge, he recognized him. So he said to his lawyer, "Oh, it's easy. I'll get off now. I know this judge very well. I know him very, very well." So he said to his lawyer, "I'll speak. In other words, I don't need you. I can defend myself. He knows me very, very well, and I know him very, very well." So the lawyer said to him, "Shush, be quiet. Just don't say a word." He said, No, I'm going to speak. Let me speak. Be quiet, sit down. He said, "No, I'm going to speak." So he got up and he said to the judge, "Judge, do you remember me? You're the one who saved my life. You're my savior. Remember? You're the one who stopped over. No one else did. Okay, so please, you should be able to get me off this. You know me very well." Okay? The judge pronounced the following. He said to him, "Before I was your savior, but today I am your judge. And between me and you is the law. And at the moment, Christ is our good savior, but there shall come a time in which he will become my judge." That's why we petrified when we say every night, "Behold, I'm about to stand before the just judge." Yeah. There, okay, it's completely different. I was your savior, but now I am your judge. Have a look at how the church transforms this to me at the end of every liturgy. The priest carrying the body of Christ in the pattern says, "The holies are for the holy people." We all kneel down or bow down and say, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." And then he does it the second time. To remember the first coming of Christ as Lord and our Savior and Redeemer. The second, that he will come as judge. May our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ grant us that we all have the spiritual insight to always pour as much as we can fragrant oil on the body of Christ, so that we may eat from the tree of life, which we were denied before, so that we may drink from the living waters, so that we may join angels and archangels chanting the hymn of victory and salvation, which you find in Revelation 15 and also in the book of Exodus chapter 15, that we may join the 144,000 undefiled virgins around the throne. And that's a symbolic number, not a literal number. That we would be worthy to hear the voice of the Lord when he says to each and every one of us, come you that are blessed by my Father, come inherit the kingdom which has been prepared for you since the creation of the world. I'll just conclude by saying, I learned the following spiritual exercise, which I will share with you, so that our spiritual fervence doesn't plummet throughout the coming 50 days of Al-Khamasin. You ready? Something very, very small. You know, St. Paul wrote for us 100 chapters across 14 epistles, which is good. All right? We decided in the church to be able to read them throughout Lent, okay, 2 a day. That would enable you to get through 50 days. And the last 5 days, each one according to whatever he likes. Okay? Now, St. John wrote half of this. He wrote only 50, which fits perfectly for the 50 days. So the Gospel is 21 chapters. Book of Revelation, 22 chapters. First epistles, so 21 and 22, I think gets you about 43. The first epistle is 5, and there's 2 other ones are only a chapter each, so that's 7 and 43 gives you 50. So enjoy living inside the Gospel of St. John, which the church is also very preoccupied with the book of Revelation and his 3 epistles. To God be glory and honor now and forevermore. Amen.
بخريستوس en sotir
Ave av ebemka
hinachene evemkav
entev soti
Creator and benefactor of all, and the Holy Spirit, the life giver, before whom kneels down every creature in heaven and on earth, we ask our Lord to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
For the sake of the perfect peace and the unity of all the churches in the world, and the monasteries and all the holy places and their dwellers and keepers, O God, have pity on your creation and save us from evil. We ask our Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
O you who prepared the life of man before his creation, made all things with your wisdom, and embellished the sky with the stars and the earth, with the vegetation and the trees and the vineyards, and the valleys with the shrub and roses, you now are King. Accept you our prayers of the servants, standing before your holy hands, saying, we ask your Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
O great and holy God, who created man according to your, give them their food as you give cattle pasture and feed the baby crows. We ask your Lord, hear us, have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
You who received as guests by your servant Abraham and the father of fathers, and sat at his table and blessed his offspring, you now are King. Accept the prayers of your servants, the priests standing before your holy hand. Have mercy on the world and save your people from the hardship, and dwell in them. Accompany them, we ask your Lord. Hear us and have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
We ask your Lord to guard us from all evil and have pity on your creation and all your people, because all people look up unto you. You give them their food in due time. You are the leader of everybody, the help of the helpless, hope of the hopeless. We ask our Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
You who look so humble, with the ever attentive eye of your concern, saved Joseph from his master's wife, made him king of Egypt and his affairs, and let him pass safely the days of tribulation, that his brethren, his father, came to him, kneeled before him, and took from him wheat, food for his children and their cattle. And likewise we bow down before you and kneel down before your holy hand, and thank you, O our Creator and Benefactor, for in this condition, every condition, and for all conditions, and pray that you save us from hardship. We ask you, O Lord, hear us, have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
Lord, the word of God, the Father, the giver of the law, the prophets, and the Old Testament, you, the perfection of them all, save your people from all tribulations and arrange their life according to your good will, and save us from famines and calamities. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
You who supported the people of Israel for 40 years in the desert of Sinai, when they had no houses nor stores, you now, Lord, protect your people and support them, and bless their homes and their stores with every heavenly blessings. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
You who accepted the prayers of Elijah the Tishbite, when the sky rained and the earth gave fruit, and blessed the barrel of meal and the cruse of oil in the house of the widow, accept the prayers of your people. Through the intercessions of your holy saints and prophets, we ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
God, have compassion and mercy on the world, and bless their crops and their stores, and the little that they have. Raise the waters of the rivers according to their measure, and give good temper to the winds. Bless the Nile of Egypt this year and every year. Fill the face of the earth with joy and sustain us, we your people. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
You who accepted the repentance of the people of Nineveh, and they all fasted and accepted the confession of the right thief on the cross, likewise make us worthy of your acceptance and compassion, in order to cry unto you, saying, Lord, remember us when you come into your kingdom. Accept the repentance of your servants, their confession, their fasting, their prayers and offerings, which are offered on your holy altar, good incense, and have mercy on them. We ask you, O Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
You are the powerful provider, the educator, the healer, the physician of souls and bodies, who examined his servant Job and healed him from all his calamity and recompensed him with more than he had. Have mercy on your people and save them from all calamities, tribulations, and misfortunes. O you, the supporter of those who trust in you, we ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
O you, Christ, our God, the Word of the Father, who made a covenant with his holy disciples, washed their feet and made them leaders of believers and guiding light of religion, and satisfaction for hungry souls, and taught them to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
O worker of wonders and miracles, who fed the thousands with 5 loaves, raised the dead, blessed the wedding in Cana of Galilee. O Lord, bless now the bread, oil, plants, beeves, trades, products, and all the works of your servants. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us.
Kyrie eleison.
O Lord, save your people and surround them on every side by the sign of your life-giving cross. Raise the state of Christians in all the world, and fill the hearts of their rulers with kindness toward them. Soften their hearts toward our poor and needy brethren, and keep every evil thing far from them. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us.
Lord, have mercy.
Oh, you entrusted us with your holy covenant, your body and blood present with us every day upon the altar. Through the descending of your Holy Spirit on the bread and wine, and commanded us, saying, This do in remembrance of me. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us.
Kyrie eleison.
O Christ our God, have mercy on your people and the successors of your apostles. Bless the fruits of the earth, and give gladness to the heart of man through the abundance of fruits and blessings. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us.
Lord, have mercy.
O begotten of the Father, who was incarnate of the Blessed Virgin Saint Mary in the fullness of time, who said to his holy disciples, Go and make disciples of all the nations, and baptize them, teaching them all that I have commanded you, and behold, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Be also with your people who cry out to you, saying, We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us.
Kyrie eleison.
O forgiver of sins and giver of all things, forgive the sins of your people. Purify them from every blemish and cleanse them from every deceit, and keep them from bearing false witness and from all envy and slander, and uproot from their hearts every evil thoughts, murmuring, doubts, and hardness of heart, arising from pride. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us.
Lord, have mercy.
You are the ramparts of our salvation, O Mother of God, and invincible boldness. Bring down all the counsels of the adversaries, Turn the mourning of your servants into joy. Defeat our cities, fight for our Orthodox kings and leaders, and intercede for the peace of the world and the churches. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us.
Kyrie eleison.
O God of mercy and compassion, Lord of all comfort, do not be angry with us, nor rebuke us for our wicked deeds, nor for our many sins. Do not be wrathful with us, nor let your wrath endure forever. Hear us, O God of Jacob, and look on us, O God, our helper. Spare the world from death, hackers, plagues, devastation, and sword of enemies, earthquakes, or and for some fearsome events. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy on us.
Lord, have mercy.
For the sake of our protection and the holy will of the hands of God, we ask you to keep for us alive with Holiness Pope our Father Todros II, his partner apostolic ministry Bishop Emma Daniel, and the student of many years and peaceful times. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
O Christ our Lord, we ask you your goodness and your great mercifulness to give for us the life of our fathers and metropolitans, bishops, and all clergy, laity, multiply the dignity of the clergy, give purity to the deacons, strength to the elders, understanding to the young, chastity to the virgins, asceticism to the monks and nuns, virtue to those who are in wedlock, protection for the women. We ask our Lord, hear us, have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
Raise the fallen, return the travelers safely to their homes, support the widow and the orphans, give plenty those who are in poverty, those who are in debt, my Lord, pay their debts for them and forgive them. Those who are in distress, give them comfort, heal the sick and repose the departed. We ask our Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us.
Kyrie eleison.
God of our fathers, the saints, do not forsake us nor neglect us. Those whom we create with your hands. You, the merciful, who revealed his love to mankind, accept from your mother intercession on our behalf. Save us, O you, the Savior of the humble. Do not forget us forever and answer us unto the end, for the sake of your holy name, and your beloved Abraham, your servant Isaac, and your son Jacob, and your beloved. Do not break your covenant with us or deprive us from your mercy. We ask you, our Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
Evnotinainan seshonairon arionainiman Chentekebet oro.
Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. O King of peace, grant us your peace, confirm to us your peace, and forgive us our sins. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Emmanuel, our God, is among us now in his
Jesus Christ, our true God, who accepted the passion willingly and was crucified on the cross on our behalf, may He bless us with all the spiritual blessing, help us and complete for us the Holy Pascha, show us the happiness of His holy resurrection for many years to come. Through the never-ending intercession of the Theotokos, the Mother of God, Saint Mary, all the choir of the angels and archangels, through the prayers of the patriarchs, the prophets, the apostles, the martyrs, the just and the righteous, the cross-bearers, the ascetics, the confessors and the anchorites, through the blessing of this Holy Pascha of our good Saviour, may their holy blessing, their grace, their power, their gift, their love, and their help be with us all forever. Amin. Bechristos ben Noti. King of peace, grant us your peace and establish for us your peace and forgive us our sins. Yours is the power, the glory, the blessing, the honor forever. Amen. Hear us who pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, for thine is the kingdom. Just before you leave, please make sure you drive carefully tonight, because it's a public holiday tomorrow, and there is the double demerits. So please drive carefully. Tomorrow morning, Tomorrow morning we will be starting 7 a.m. And then in the evening we'll be starting, instead of 6 p.m. we'll be beginning 5 p.m. tomorrow night. So don't get confused. Tomorrow night, please just 1 minute. Tomorrow morning 7 a.m. and at night we'll be starting 5 p.m. God willing. On tomorrow night, there is also the youth are organizing the Passion of the Christ movie. Now, traditionally, that's been good, but also traditionally, it upset the fathers quite a bit, because people hang around and they stay behind, and it gets loud, our neighbors complain, all that kind of stuff. So please, if you're willing tomorrow night to join the Passion of the Christ, to watch it, there is no food in the hall. You just come to watch the movie and take this blessing. Immediately after it's finished, you go home. Tomorrow night. Immediately after you finish, please go home. Nobody under 18 is allowed to attend unless their parents have given permission. Nobody under 18 is allowed to attend unless the parents have given permission. So this is tomorrow night, God willing. Okay? Last thing, please. Tomorrow morning we will begin, all of us, Arabic and English in the main church, Archangel Michael Church. We'll do the first hour together, and then we'll come back separate, English and Arabic, rest of the day. Now, if you want to learn some hymns, you're welcome to join the deacons to revise some of the Passion of the Week hymns, okay? Abuna will send you in peace. Shh.
Go in peace, peace of God be with you all.